Hey everyone and welcome to this guide. If you're playing Classic Hardcore, you already know how important every upgrade is, especially in self-found mode. This guide highlights vendors that Alliance players can access, whether they're Alliance only or neutral. Some are easy to miss, but what they sell can make a real difference. They're not all hidden, but many are often overlooked. There are plenty of vendors out there, but this guide focuses on the ones I find most useful for a hardcore run. Our first stop is in Westfall, in the village of Moonbrook. Upstairs in the inn, you'll find the Defias Profiteer, a vendor who can sell green leather boots and a recipe for rage potion, both in limited supply. But be careful, Moonbrook is full of Defias mobs, so if you're low level, getting in and out can be risky. Still, if you manage to reach him safely, it's a solid stop worth checking out. In the southeastern corner of Redridge Mountains, you'll find two useful vendors standing right next to each other. Clyde Ranthal sells leatherworking supplies and also offers the patterned black whelp cloak, a great early recipe for skilling up. Right beside him is Brubaker, who sells green leather braces in limited supply. If you're in the area, it's a quick stop that might be worth your time. Now we move on to one of the most unpredictable vendors in the game. Perelli is a traveling vendor who patrols through several low-level zones, including Elwynn Forest, Westfall, Duskwood, and Redridge Mountains. He has no fixed position. You'll need to find him while he's on the move, but his route loops through these regions over time. When you do, he may offer green leather braces, two-handed weapons, and a few useful herbs, all in limited supply. Because he moves constantly and can get stuck on terrain, finding him isn't always easy, but if you spot him, he's one of the best vendors to stock up from in self-found. Next up is Cat Sampson, found in the southeastern camp of Loch Modan. She can sell green leather boots, the same kind you might have seen earlier from the Defias Profiteer. Right next to her is Xandar Goodbeard, and can also offer the recipe, Rage Potion, and Holy Protection Potion. Just a bit further west in Loch Modan, you'll find Aldren Cordon near the entrance to Ironband's excavation site. He sells a few green cloth pieces, including a vest, a robe, and a belt. Heading into Duskwood, we find Kzixx, a vendor tucked away near the northern edge of the zone. He sells a variety of cloth gear, offhand options, and a couple of useful crafting recipes. For self-found players, he's definitely worth checking out if you're passing through. Still in Duskwood, this time in Raven Hill, you'll find Bliztik, an alchemy vendor tucked inside one of the houses. Most of what he sells is standard, but he does offer the recipe Shadow Oil, worth picking up if you're leveling alchemy, as it's not always in stock. In the northern wetlands, you'll find Wenna Silkbeard, inside a small building near the riverbank. She sells green cloth, leather, and mail gear, along with a few tailoring and leatherworking patterns. Right outside that same house is Fradd Swiftgear, an engineering vendor standing by the entrance. He sells a mix of schematics and materials, mostly useful for early to mid-level engineering during a self-found run. Now heading north into the wetlands, deep into the ruined outpost of Dunmoda, you'll come across the Dark Iron Entrepreneur, a vendor surrounded by elite mobs, so reaching him can be risky, especially on a hardcore run. If you do make it there, he has a few green leather and mail pins, some one-handed weapons, and a couple of engineering-related items. Let's move into Arasi Highlands. Inside the hostile ruins of Stromgarde Keep, you'll find Deneb Walker, a vendor useful for first aid users. He sells manuals for heavy silk and mage weave bandages, plus the expert first aid book, scrolls, and reagents. It's a dangerous area, but if you're prepared, this stop can offer great value for players looking to stock up. Next up, we head into Durnhold Keep in Hillsbrad Foothills, where Chris Legacy can be found deep inside the ruins. She sells a variety of leather gear, including green pieces you might have already seen at other vendors, like braces. If you're in the area and can clear your way through, she's worth a stop during the mid-level grind. Next up is Xandar, a traveling vendor in Hillsbrad Foothills. He walks between South Shore and Tarren Mill, sometimes stopping in a ruined tower. He sells the formula for Enchant Boots Minor Agility. If you spot him, check his stock. Let's move on to Broken, found on the northern wall of the Ogre Ruins in Alterac Mountains. He offers greater healing and mana potions, along with the valuable recipe, Frost Oil. It's a risky spot due to elites nearby, and the vendor can be hard to notice, so take care if you go looking for him. Next, we've got Rupo Zipcoil. It's found in the far northeast part of the hinterlands. He sells a variety of engineering parts and materials, including the schematic mithril mechanical dragonling, which can be a solid pickup if you're leveling engineering. If you're in the area, it's a great spot to swing by and check. And now we head back to the southern part of the continent. Next up, we've got a pair of goblin vendors in Stranglethorn Vale, Naz and Kanaz Blunderflame. They're both found in the eastern part of the zone. These two are packed with engineering supplies, from core materials to schematics like the mechanical dragonling and deadly scope. If you're into engineering, don't skip this stop. Next, we've got Cowardly Crosby, a hidden vendor found deep in Stranglethorn Vale. He's located in a Bloodsail encampment south of Booty Bay and surrounded by many mobs. If you manage to clear your way through, you'll find him selling the pattern Admiral's Hat. Tucked away in the Swamp of Sorrows, Masatandra offers a variety of tailoring materials and the pattern for the Green Dragon Scale breastplate, a rare find that doesn't always appear in his stock. If it's not there, check back later. The last stop of our journey through the Eastern Kingdoms, we meet Augustus the Touched, a strange vendor found in the Eastern Plaguelands. To access his shop, you'll need to complete a short quest called Augustus's Receipt Book. You'll be heading into a nearby inn overrun with many undead mobs and must push your way to the second floor to recover the missing ledger. Once returned, Augustus will offer you a crazy grab bag, a pricey mystery box that can contain random high-level armor and cloaks. A risky spend, and maybe not worth the risk. Now let's head over to Theramore Isle, where you'll find Peter Verence, located on the ground floor of one of the military buildings on the eastern side. He offers a selection of green quality weapons and some leather and mail armor, a solid start for self-found gearing if you're in the area. Heading northwest to Stone Talon Mountains, you'll find Nizik on a high wooden bridge above the water wheel system in Windshear Crag. Getting there is risky. The area is packed with venture-coming mobs, and it's easy to fall if you're not careful. If you do make it across, he sells a variety of green quality cloth, leather, and mail gear, much of which we've seen from other vendors earlier. Just a bit further west, still in Windshear Crag, you'll find Phoenix tucked away in a small wooden hut. He sells several green quality weapons, including one-hand axes, staves, and daggers, plus a few offhand items on the schematic Goblin Jumper cables. Heading south from Stone Talon Mountains, we enter Desolace, a dry and dangerous region where two goblin caravans travel back and forth. First is Vendor-Tron 1000, a robot merchant that appears at the northern stop of the Gizelton Caravan. It stays active for about 10 minutes before moving on, selling tailoring goods, cooking recipes, and rare leatherworking patterns. A brief but worthwhile visit. From there, the caravan travels south across Desolace, taking roughly 15 to 20 minutes to reach its next stop near Manorock Coven. That's where Superseller 680 shows up, offering different items, including cooking recipes, ammo, tailoring patterns, engineering schematics, and various throwing weapons. A solid start for crafters, especially if you're after recipes not easily found elsewhere. Deep in the far south of Ashara, you'll find Juby Gadget Spring, an engineering vendor tucked away off the beaten path. The road leading to her runs dangerously close to elite mobs, so stay sharp. If you reach her, she sells a solid lineup of engineering parts, including the deep dive helmet schematic. To finish our journey, we head deep into Winterspring, near the entrance of Dark Whisper Gorge, where Vael can sometimes be found. He's a rare reagent vendor with a limited stock of valuable materials like fellcloth and Grom's blood. The area is dangerous and often crowded, so spotting him isn't always easy. But if you do, you might just snag something valuable. We've now covered most of the vendors that can really make a difference in a classic hardcore run. Thanks for watching, and good luck out there on your hardcore journey. If this guide helped, drop a like, subscribe, and share it with other self-found players. And if you found any other vendors worth visiting, feel free to share them in the comments. See you next time.
Listen!